What up, you lab rats? This is episode number 21, and today we're talking about marketing. What else do I have here? Marketing, no pay, and oh yes, retirement. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the lab. My name is Megan Pangan.
And I'm Kevin.
And let's get in the lab. All right. Welcome back to the show, B. It's been 2 weeks for you, man.
Yeah, I've been sick. What the heck?
Yeah, it was cool because my sister came on, and then I had a little solo show, and I was lonely. But then
I don't know why and how I got sick.
You always get sick.
Yeah, I always get sick around this time, and thank goodness it wasn't walking pneumonia like 3 years ago.
No, but you always get like a coffee pneumonia-like sickness that lasts for like 3 months.
Yeah, and I do apologize if I do cough because I still have it. That's what's
going to happen, yeah. But yeah, anyway, guys, thank you for joining us today. I want to take some time to thank our sponsor, audible.com. So you guys, listening to Get in the Lab podcast, you can visit audibletrial.com/Get in the Lab podcast to get a free audiobook of your choice. We have over 150,000 titles to choose from. I am finally listening to a new book.
Oh.
I'm listening to Awaken the Giant by Tony Robbins. And I also picked up his new book, The Money One. So I haven't listened to any like Tony Robbins stuff, and I know he's like the self-dev king. And so I was like, dude, why haven't I been listening? So I'm listening to it. And it's really cool because his gruff voice is there firing you up in your ear, and it's really empowering. So that's what I'm listening to. So be sure to visit audible.com for your free audiobook. All right. So today, B.
Yeah.
What's going on today?
Let's start with this.
Oh, yeah. The fiance tag.
The fiance tag. So we only have...
What's in there?
Oh, no.
We ended up putting like random things in here. It became like a little trash can. My bad. Okay. What would I eat every day if I could?
What would you eat every day if you could?
Good question.
That's really hard, but I would say In-N-Out.
I think that's your answer.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
I would say chocolate.
But you do eat it every day.
Oh.
So it
My life
matter.
is perfect.
All right.
All right, B. Here you go.
Okay. My favorite sports team.
Ain't nobody watch sports up in here.
Yeah.
You don't have one.
Yeah, I don't have one.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to miss that little tag. We got to find a new tag thing to kind of go off of. Suggestions. All right, so what's been going on for the last 2 weeks since we've missed you?
Well,
the big highlights. What are the highlights going on?
The big highlights?
Yeah.
I would say we booked our venue and we booked our wedding photographer.
All right, I talked about that.
Oh, you spoke about that?
I told him that.
Well, that was the biggest highlight.
Yeah.
And Christmas shopping.
Christmas
Megan leaving.
Oh, yes. So, guys, I retired. I already made a vlog about this. I'm probably going to make many vlogs about it because there were so many lessons that I learned from shooting with you.
Yeah.
And a lot of really great successes, a lot of losses that I learned from to make new successes. And I'm going to go in depth and all that stuff later on in this episode, too. But, yeah. Last Saturday was my last wedding officially, where it was me, you, and John shooting together, and it was kind of sad.
Yeah,
Bittersweet.
Yeah, sort of sad for him.
Sad for John.
Yeah.
John told me one time it was like 2 weddings before that one, and he's like, man, it's going to suck because, we were always talking, smack and just, being, like, because both of us, we're not there for the same reason that you're there for, right? So we have different like motivations as to why we're shooting with you. And so like when we're tired and stuff like that, we'd always be talking smack like, man, I can't wait for the day to be over. And it's not, no offense to the wedding or anything, but like we're just different people. We don't have the same passion behind photography. he's learning to grow into that passion. And like I kind of had to learn because there was really no other choice. But like we have different motivations for shooting, right? So and we've been seeing that, like we have that discussion a lot. Like how do you teach somebody to feel the shot? You know?
Yeah.
Like I had to learn that. I had to, like, I'm not anywhere attached to the clients as you are. Like you remember everybody's name, everybody's face, and for me,
I think
like,
that's because I'm more upfront, and you would remember like anyone you spoke to for podcasting because you're upfront.
True.
And I don't remember anyone's name.
Well, and that too, because I'm crazy about podcasting, and you're crazy about shooting weddings. You know what I mean? Like the passion, the motivation, like the why behind it all is there for you where it isn't there for me, and that's why you remember everybody's name and you have that connection. Like. Not that I don't care. It's just that it's not my passion. So the thing that I'm passionate about, like podcasting and stuff, of course, I'm going to remember a lot more. The way like you were like, I don't remember ever talking about that. What are you talking about when it's related to this stuff? Right?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, we would always be like just kind of relating on that level. Because it's not really our first passion, but we love to work with you. I think that is a passion. And I think that's like one of the biggest things that I learned from shooting is like we learned how to work together.
Yeah.
Like really well because we had to.
We didn't have to. But.
Yeah, we had to. Like there's no other way to kind of put it. Like either I was going to learn how to work with you or I was going to be stuck in corporate and have a really like shitty time all the time. Like if I didn't change, you know what I mean?
If you didn't change, but I believe anyone has a choice to do anything they want to do.
That's true. But at the time, like I didn't feel that way. I felt obligated. And that's why I think a lot of like resentment started to build when I didn't know what I wanted to do because I thought I had to follow you. And until recently where we sat down and we're like, it's okay. I know you don't want to shoot. And I was like, oh, it was like a relief. Because if I didn't want to shoot, I feel like I'm letting you down. So it's like a relief.
I already knew this like way before.
Back in the day
already because I already addressed it.
I know, but to hear it from you, like to say it out loud, you know, instead of assuming like, oh, I hope he knows that I don't want to shoot. Like, it's so much more like happier to know. For sure. Like it's clear. Yeah. Like you're okay with me not shooting. And so like when you like let me go, I was like, oh, I can let go too. You're like, it was a relief. It was a relief. Even though like there's so many good things that came out of us shooting together for sure. Yeah. That's what started this whole thing. I would not be doing podcasting or anything if we didn't start shooting together. Yeah. So props. And I'm glad to say goodbye in that way, but you know, it's not like I'm not involved.
Yeah, you're very involved.
I'm very involved still.
You're
like,
just in a different.
I just moved to a different position. Yeah. You know,
something that you're better at.
Right, something that I am better at, and so hopefully, you know, John will surpass me because he has a different motivation. He's not exactly like me. So even though we can be relatable that shooting is not our first passion, like he would still surpass me on different levels. So I'm excited to see what he's going to bring to the table in the future because who knows, you know? Yeah. Who knows what he's going to bring. It's going to be really cool. It's exciting. I'm excited for him.
Yeah. Within a month, he's really improving and he's been doing pretty well.
Within a month. Yeah. Like me within a month, I was still trying to be fast with my settings and still really timid and all that stuff. Like I can barely even remember that person a month into really shooting weddings because like that's so far from who we are. So it's cool. It's cool. Yeah. I love seeing him progress as well, like making his own site and making his own decisions on that front and like taking a lot of initiative. And it's like, that's
probably
cool.
One of the first person that actually is proactive in making their own thing on their own.
Right. And it's like, I was really shocked. I was like, this looks damn good.
you usually always help your cousins. You always did something.
I do it for them.
Yeah, you do it for them. Yeah. But now
I don't have to do it. And that feels really good to see somebody flying solo, like truly flying solo. Like, you know, we both had a hand in like raising him in the photography industry, and now he's just going, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So I'm very proud of him. I'm super proud. What are you looking forward to with John?
Well, for this upcoming year, I just want
What the heck?
interruption.
Yes.
So, looking forward to this year is to really see how he can bend light, see how he can
Like the creativity.
basically react on his camera when there's an emotional impact happening. Seeing how he can predict shots or predict moments before they even happen and capture it.
Is there any like surprising things that you've learned like along the way? Like we've made this transition, like
Yeah, I've learned a lot.
yeah, like
And I've learned how to teach someone how to get the right moments, or how to guide them, or how to teach them how to speak with their clients, or how to approach their subject in a way to get them the shots if they ever needed it.
It's crazy, like that's second nature to you, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I was talking about this with another videographer during the last wedding, and I was like, it's weird teaching what is second nature to you. Mm-hmm. It's weird, and we'll have discussions. We'll be like, how do we communicate something that is second nature?
Yeah,
like it's obvious to us because we've been doing it for so long, and so that was a really great insight because we could be like, oh, this is, we're skipping all these steps because it's second nature, but when you're teaching somebody else, it kind of shows too, like you really know your shit.
Yeah, and you actually appreciate your job even more. But you also catch yourself if you did something wrong, or you also caught yourself doing stuff that you used to do, but you no longer do it, but maybe you should start doing it again. So I've been seeing my shots improve with more feelings, with more emotions than I mean, this year, definitely, because I caught myself that, before I was like way too artsy. I was just thinking about art versus someone's memories, someone's,
Yeah, that's so true. Like, when we were picking our photographer and we were having the discussion, like, this guy is super artsy and we appreciate that because we're artsy, right?
Yeah.
And like we can't help that. We're photographers. So we kind of look for the art and the creativity in another photographer are winning. Yeah. But then we go, well, where are the candids? Where are the moments? Where are the people in the wedding? And I go, oh, this is what clients feel like. And that's such a great insight for us because we're making all these changes.
They want the memories. They want the emotion. And when they look back on it, and definitely quality is better than quantity. So when they look back at even 800 images, each of those images should tell a story. There should be a reason why us as photographers captured in that sequence, or why we set up our shot in that way.
Right. It makes you think more. And it's another challenge because before it was, how can I make it creative? How can I make it artsy? Now it's like, am I capturing the right moment? Am I telling their story the way it needs to be told? Yeah. And that's great because like when you shoot a wedding, wedding after wedding after wedding, it gets monotonous, right? Yeah. So you want to make sure that you stay on the top of your game and that what you're capturing is not generic and is not a shot list.
And weddings aren't. Every wedding is different.
Every wedding is different, yeah.
There's random things that happening within someone's day that's going to be different in other weddings. Right. And those are the true moments that us as photographers should capture versus weaving those out and just capture the shot list. Right. So when you're capturing just a shot list, you're basically ignoring all the important moments. Yeah, you're being a robot. You're not feeling. It's really boring when someone just looks through a collage of just shot lists. Stuff. So I think it was really good insight for us to finally be like, okay, let's look for a photographer. What are we looking for? And really go through the process of what our clients go through because now we can adjust and make changes. And now that's kind of my role. Now that I'm not shooting, I need to be paying attention to those little nuances where we're like, we need to pay attention to what our clients really want. Yeah, and I read clients really well now. And implementing this new change, or it's not implementing change, but it's actually trying to challenge ourselves to capture the right moments and still implement our style, just improving on it and making us a lot better as photographers.
Yeah. Yeah. So really cool. Really some great insight coming through. I think with the, 2015 rolling in, the business is going to go through a really massive change. It's going to happen kind of just like subtly, but we're very aware of where we need to go now. And that's great. We have a lot more clarity now that we're on the same page. And now that I'm not kind of muddled by shooting every weekend when I don't want to shoot. And so...
And this is pretty random, but this takes me back when I was in nursing and I was capturing engagement sessions. I would show all the nursing students that were in my class, and they would say, hey, your engagement session is really strong, but your wedding is not as strong as your engagement.
Really?
And I really didn't get why. I was butthurt when that person said that, but I was like, yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah.
And that's because probably I was just starting out and it was capturing the shot list. And that's why those people that look through my weddings, even though we were still booking clients and all that, but there are certain people that really look more into depth into your work and really care about your work, really couldn't get any emotion out of my work when I first started.
Right.
So
that's a really great point. That's great that you brought that up. Not random, because it really relates back into the first question that we're going to answer. And sorry, it's like a long intro about weddings and stuff, guys, but I think it's relevant information for you, as marketers. So the first question comes from, I think this is Raymond Spart. So how do you analyze a market in a creative way for forming and marketing your business? Advice for those who maybe might not know or be overwhelmed to start. So that relates back to that first example you were saying, like, you're just capturing the shot list. Well, how do you market yourself? How do you stand out when...
Yeah, how do you be distinguishable? I would say it does come over time. It's just not going to come like right off the bat. Because there's always improvements over a product,
right?
Just with anything.
What would you say, like, what was going through your mind in the very beginning? Like, why were you just capturing the shot list? Was it just because, like, this is what I'm supposed to do?
That was a part of it, because I've been following people around like for 2 years prior to starting our own business. And from there, I did select my 5 top people that I love to follow. And I felt, let's just mimic it, So I kind of implement some of their flares into our events that we shoot. And I felt that I was just being a copycat. And which,
Did you feel that when you...
I didn't. In some shots, I felt I was copying, but I'm trying to put my own flair, but I didn't know how
to do it.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know how to put my own flair into...
How'd you feel about that? Like when you're copying, like what are you saying to yourself? Like, I'm just getting somebody else's shot, or what's going through your mind?
We didn't have the luxury of training ourselves or going out to workshops during that time, because each workshop was about $4K. And
you have school.
And I had school.
Yeah.
So what's left is resources. But back in the day, weddings wasn't blooming as much. Wedding photography wasn't blooming as much as today, where resources are like really easily accessible.
Do you mean like online?
Yeah, online.
Okay.
So what do we rely on? Other people's portfolio back in 2009.
Okay.
And I would say that's how I learned photography, was being inspired.
Yeah.
And to distinguish yourself just comes over time. You have to just put the work in. You have to be out there and just keep on doing what you love.
Yeah.
And once you stop looking at your followers and your inspirations when you first started out and just kind of hone in into your own craft, you will start to evolve over time.
And I think we did that by we get this, we call them safety, right? We call them safety shots. We go safety and then you get creative after. So that's what I tell John every time when we shoot. I'm like, you get your safety shot first and then you go, if you have time, you be creative after, because it's like, it's their moment. You need to capture the shot list.
Yeah. But to distinguish yourself in analyzing the market that you're in, you have to stop looking at the people that inspire you and just work on your own craft. Like, focus on yourself get bored with your own work
Yeah.
and change it up.
Yeah.
Change it on your own and set new trends for yourself.
Yeah.
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 Make something that attracts you as the artist in a creative industry. Then since you're paying attention not to the industry that you're in, you're just paying attention to yourself, and someone will catch and latch on.
Yeah. Do you think artistic eye and the eye for photography, and I think like creative people in general, do you think that can be learned?
Yeah, it
Like
definitely
over
can be
time?
learned.
I think so too.
Yeah, because look at, for example, John.
Yeah. Like the ring shots, right?
Artsy, fartsy, like he has no art when he first started in photography.
Yeah.
Like he had to learn those skills. He had to learn the basics of settings of a camera.
Right.
And then apply those settings to actual events, actual subjects.
Yeah.
So you can be artistic just through learning. I mean,
That's
for
true.
For
That's
example,
so
like
true.
kids, when you're in art school, they force you to go art school, and
You learn all the mediums.
yeah, you learn how to draw.
Yeah. this is different
First,
kinds
it
of
started
pencils.
with tracing.
Tracing, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, tracing. Yeah, that's so true. I was kind of debating it in my mind because I was thinking, how, as we're trying to train John, because that's on my mind a lot, and like, how do you teach creativity? It seems that someone like you're kind of born with it, And so I was afraid that how am I going to teach creativity when it seems that you're born when it's
I don't think you're
born with it.
I don't think you're born with it. I'm not born with a camera.
No, but you're born with the eye for creativity to like you see things in a certain way, right? Like I will never see some shots that you see,
But you may see,
and vice versa.
yeah,
right.
So you may see other things that I won't see.
So I guess what I was like kind of conflicted with is like, how do you teach somebody to be creative? Because somebody who would maybe limit themselves and go, but I'm not creative, But I think it can be learned.
It can be learned, but it's actually up to that person if they want to learn and if they are inspired within that field.
Very true. So yeah, I think
so to distinguish yourself in a creative market is to focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Then you'll create a market of your own.
By that you mean like get the basics of basics down.
Yeah.
Trace if you have to, right? Trace if you have to. And then start branching out, get your safety right, get your safety down, and then start branching out and be creative with it. I think it's kind of like this podcast. I looked at everybody who had a podcast and they did it a certain way.
Yeah.
And then I started to see other people doing shows and like totally unrelated to business and what we do. But I like what they did. I like how they show certain little objects that kind of relate back to them, or they sit like this and talk to somebody and film it at the same time. And that inspired me. And so if we look,
that's tracing.
Yeah. If you look within our field of self-dev, I don't think there's a show like this. So that's how I was able to distinguish Get in the Lab from other shows.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a sell for you. I said, nobody's doing what we're doing in this field, and talking about business and talking about self-dev.
Yeah.
So yeah, like get the safety down, get the basics down, understand, like we talked about in episode like 17 or some shit, like know the context of the playground in which you're playing in, and then start to break the rules.
But don't compare yourself too much to your market or people that are doing similar things, because once you start comparing yourself, you're going to set high expectations for yourself that you will never reach.
Right.
So if you just focus on yourself, there is no competition, then you're going to be making something more distinguishable for the market.
Right. All right. Let's take a break, B.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back with the next question. All right. And we're back in the lab with the next question. So, okay. Another question from Raymond is, if you want to read it, it's that first one right there.
All right. Am I okay with not being able to pay myself for parenthesis, who knows how long without making a profit? Hey, starting up things can get a little ratchet sometimes.
Thanks, Raymond, for that question. All right, so basically he's saying, like, how we first started out, you offer things pro bono.
Yeah.
And were you okay with that? That's what his question is. Like, am I going to be okay with doing things for free?
Yeah, I'm definitely. You have to ask yourself, what are you worth? Because I always ask myself, what am I worth? And am I worth charging someone for my craft? So I wasn't comfortable when I first started off photographing vow renewals or just little small intimate weddings.
Why didn't you feel comfortable?
Because people sort of know that I started off, and communication between me and my client wasn't as strong as it is today.
Yeah, definitely.
So
you were timid.
I was timid. I was lack of confidence. So that lack of confidence probably shown in my work at first.
But it didn't stop you.
It didn't stop me because I knew I had to improve on it. I know I'm not that type of person where I'm like really shy and just like sort of walk away from things. I'm always trying to improve on myself as a person in public. So I would say, pro bono is okay. I mean, I did it.
How long?
Probably the first 10 to 12 weddings I did pro bono.
Really? I
actually worked 2 years under another photographer for pro bono because I just wanted to really be good.
Yeah. What did it feel like? I mean, like, were you working?
I wasn't phased.
Yeah.
But I have to, I'm thankful that my mom was helping me out during this situation when
you were really young.
Yeah, I was pretty young. I was 19, trying to figure out my life. So
not uncommon.
So I was like very confused, and my mom was there to support me in whatever I wanted to do. Yeah, she didn't force me into nursing. It was just a path that I thought was really stable at the time. And that was mainly it.
Yeah, I'd have to say, and I talk about this in a vlog, your desire for the life that you really want and the work that you really want to do has to be greater than your self-doubt. Because you're going to have doubt, you're going to have fear all the live long day. That's never, ever, ever going to stop. But the desire to actually attain that goal that you have for yourself has to be greater. It just has to be a smidge greater. It doesn't even have to be that much greater. It just has to be a smidge greater to where like you still keep taking those steps forward, even though you have fear and even though you have doubt.
Yeah, change is pain. Not pain is change, but change is pain.
Yeah.
Just because, like when I first started off, someone said, "Hey, you need a website." I'm like, why do I need a website? I'm just photographing. It was like when I first started, like the Tofurious brothers. They're like, you need to start something. You need to look back at your work and really appreciate it. Look at your flaws. Look at everything, and also submit your work to for criticism because. Yeah, a lot of people have big egos when it comes to art, and they don't like those criticisms. Yeah. And I surely didn't like my criticisms when I first started out. I thought it was the shit. But freaking shooting bugs and seeing one freaking bee on a little leaf, I thought that was amazing. But it wasn't
so true.
But it was amazing when we first started off.
Yeah.
And slowly later, you're pinpointing, you know exactly why that shot was wrong.
Yeah.
Like composition was off, lighting was off, clarity, everything.
Yeah.
So
how were you humbled?
So, I mean, that part just sort of came like, someone had to tell me those criticisms.
Who's telling you, like clients or other photographers?
The other photographers within forums that I used to be a part of.
Yeah.
And so that probably kept me pretty humble in knowing that, I'm not worth what I'm worth. And I'm not worth charging yet. There's so many other photographers out there during that time that were talented and definitely charge because they're worth that much.
But that's all based on perception, because
that
somebody
is,
who you can charge whatever the hell you want, right? When
you
work
can
for
charge. Yeah, you can even charge like starting off like a week later if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. The point is like you said, how much am I worth?
Yeah.
So how did you how did you decide what you're worth? People.
Well, I started slow.
Yeah. What is slow? Like, what do you mean?
I mean, what's slow is shooting a 12-hour wedding for $500.
That is so painful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And editing that, which takes another 24 hours to edit one wedding. Yeah. So you calculate, do the math, $500 isn't really that worth it.
And that's the pain that you go through when you're going through that change.
Oh, when looking back at it, it was pretty painful to hear $500 for 36 hours of work. Yeah. But you're doing something on the path to this greater idea. And that's the big difference. And it's all for you. Yeah. It's all for you, not for somebody else. Those are the big kickers. And but yeah, there was a goal, and there was something that I wanted to accomplish, was to be back then was like, I want to be a big name photographer. I want the industry to know who we are and where we stand.
I mean, that's still our goal.
Our goal. I mean, it's always been our goal. Yeah. And before I was like, I try to be like a Van Gogh type where like no one sees my face, and I really didn't care whoever saw my work. I didn't give a crap. Yeah. Because to be honest, I hate the attention. Yeah. I still hate the attention. Yeah. I really don't care about.
And then I came.
Yeah, and then she helped me out, and she's like, "You gotta put yourself out there more." And I'm still not comfortable till this day, but I just do it.
Yeah, I think that goes along the same category, or maybe it's a branch off of knowing what you're worth and to be okay with putting your face out there. I think it takes a certain bravado too, and humility. Like before, when I was putting my face out there, now it's no big deal. I don't give a damn. But before, it's like publishing that picture, it must look just right. I must have makeup on. I must have my hair in just the right place. And I would take so many, try to do self-portrait just for my profile picture. Like, that's ridiculous. But you could see how a lot of people can kind of relate to that, because that's what goes on all day, every day. Instagram, doing selfies, like people taking selfies over and over again because it doesn't look just right. And all that stuff, you learn to let that go. It's a balance between the bravado, the ego, and humility. Like, I'm cool with it. Yeah. I'm cool with this, because this is my face. This is our brand. This is us. This is real.
But we spoke about this, I think a few episodes back, of people wanting to pursue in their passion, but they just don't have enough upfront money to help them get there quicker. So you can still have time to do your own job, and then do your passion on the side and work your way up. Yeah. And it can take forever, but well, it doesn't have to take forever, but I mean, like,
tell them it takes forever.
It doesn't take forever, but
it may take forever in your mind. Yeah, I get you.
But set yourself a schedule. Set yourself goals every day or every week, and say you're going to accomplish this one by this specific date. Yeah. Just for example, for us, we're revamping our own website currently, and our date is set for the New Year's. Right. And we've been working on, Megan's been working on it for an entire month, and we're just running and gunning it, and I'm just providing her a bunch of pictures, but I'm being proactive, and I know the deadline's coming up, and I have to get this thing finished. Yeah. So setting yourself deadlines will further help you, even for mental support when you're starting off business. Right. Yeah.
And speaking of setting deadlines, like, you can set all the deadlines you want. And it's kind of funny because I bought a planner, and I was like, I need to find a way to organize all my shit. And so I could be more effective in my work and stuff like that. Because I'm not really on top of Get in the Lab and KLV and, clean media and vlogging. I'm not really on top of that, because I think it's because the decision making is not up to par yet. So setting yourself deadlines, that's one thing. But actually deciding, and that sun's all up in my face right now. It's all up in your face too.
Yeah. I'm going to be blown out.
Wait. Make sure your face is not blown out. No, right there. No, right here.
I'm just going to sit like this.
No, see, it's like right there, right there.
All right.
Right there. Lord. See, this is what happens because we don't have studio lights. Anyway, your decision-making process must be up to snuff as well. So set that deadline and then commit to actually stick to that deadline. People set deadlines all the time. I do that myself. And then sometimes I don't fulfill them. And it's because I haven't made the decision. When you truly make a decision, it's done. There's no other option. That's kind of how I see it. Like, it's like life or death. That's the way it should be in your mind. That way, when you do make a decision, that means business. Yeah. It's go time, right? And so in order to create the momentum that you need in your business, especially when you're first starting out, is to be decisive. When you can be decisive, you find clarity, which means now you have power to actually make that shit happen.
Yeah.
So be more decisive, set those deadlines and actually commit to them and decide.
But yeah, back to the question.
What was the question? So what was the question?
Pro bono.
Pro bono. Yeah. You know, like, sometimes you got to do some stuff for free. You have to kind of prove yourself. That's kind of the proving ground.
Yeah.
You know, you're also proving to yourself, like, what am I worth? If you've never done anything, like if you haven't had the opportunity to shoot a 12-hour wedding yet, you know, who are you to say how much you're worth? You haven't even done it yet. Yeah. Like, you need to try, you need to get your feet wet and charge whatever the hell you want.
Exactly.
But if it's for free, just know that it's not for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't put 110% when you're doing it for free.
And it doesn't mean you're worth zero. It just means that, you know, perhaps you just need to prove yourself a little bit and build a reputation, build that personal brand. All right. So we have another question. We're only at 12 minutes. We're cool. And last question. Okay, B. So am I going to follow through with this even if I might not feel like it sometimes?
So this is a mental question. And
it's kind of an ambiguous question. So
you're perfect at this.
Well, I'm kind of confused by the question. So am I going to follow through with this even when I might not even feel like it? Okay, so you're doubting your own commitment to what you're doing. That's kind of how I'm taking the question. Are you interpreting it different? Okay. So I think this kind of relates back to what I just said, like your desire for the life that you want and the work that you want to do in this world has to be greater than your self-doubt. Because I doubted all the time whether or not you got what the hell I was doing or whatever. Like, in the end, I had to let that go. I had to like not care. I had to put that out of my mind because doubt and fear and all of that stuff is just an excuse for you not to be able to execute and move forward, to take a step forward. So I really had this desire of this ideal life that I wanted. For example, like this house. I really wanted this house to be a home. That's like one of my big goals. I like think about it all the time. And so in order for me to have that, I had to stop complaining about certain things. I had to start putting in the work, the sweat into this house on my own time, on my own dollar, and not feel like I'm obliged to anything or that, you know, anything is owed to me. I had to work for it. So that's kind of how I see it, where like I can have doubt and I can have fear and I can complain and I can give the excuse that like I don't have the money or I don't have whatever, or we have roommates, or, you know, all these other excuses. I could complain all the live long day, but if I don't actually take that ideal that I want and actually move the needle forward with my own work, with my own mind, with my own thoughts, I'm not going to get there. So I would say, like, with the self-doubt, that's always going to be there. You have to let that go. And the urge to actually have the life that you really want has to be greater. Which,
how much do you want it?
How much do you want it? Yeah. That's
you have
so
to
simple.
You have to attract.
That makes it so simple.
You have to attract a positive thinking when it comes to starting a business. Yeah. Because once you're always thinking in a negative way, it's just you're not going to promote any change.
Yeah.
So to promote change, you have to steer yourself away from thinking that you're never going to make it out.
Yeah. There's no, like, to me now, like when I quit corporate and you were asking me, are you going to go back to working, get a job if we need to? I was like, no, there's no other option for me. Like, seriously, like, yeah, technically I could go back and get another job to help support us. But to me, that was death. There was no other option. I made a decision that I was going to make this, whatever I was doing or whatever I wanted to do, work. And so that's how bad I wanted it. Like, for me, like, and then I just kind of apply that type of mentality to anything that I want. If I truly want something, I make that decision in my mind. Like, there's no other option. It's life or death for me. If I have to go back to corporate, I will literally like die inside. And so when I think about that motivates me like hell to do all of this stuff, to master my craft, to learn more, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'll never go into the hospital ever. I'll shoot a wedding for $100.
Yeah.
If I would have to go back there.
Yeah, really. Yeah. So yeah, it's like our pain tolerance is very, very low for shit that we don't want to do.
Yeah.
And like my fear is that for like the youth and for people who are stuck in occupations and jobs that they don't like, their tolerance is just really, really high.
Yeah.
Like, they can take it. And that's not necessarily a good thing, because you don't want for more. If you wanted more, like, if you keep saying to yourself, I wish I could do that, then, your pain tolerance just has to lower. Like, you have to come to this spot where it's like, I can't take it anymore. It's life or death for me to stay within this occupation or whatever. Like, I will do it for free if I have to. Like, but I get it, because some people will say I have to survive.
Yeah.
But there's always a way. Like, you can cut down on all these things. You cannot spend as much. You have to change your lifestyle. But if you want it enough, that's the bottom line. If you want it enough, you can make it happen.
Yep.
But you have to believe it, right? You have to believe it.
So yeah, always think about it.
Yeah.
Change is pain.
That's so pessimistic. Change is pain. If you want to change, it's going to hurt like hell. No, I mean, sometimes, the pain, the struggle, you have to go through that because it makes you compassionate. Mm-hmm. I think Buddha said that, like, struggling is compassion. You learn compassion through struggling and through pain.
I think she said that. I think she made it up.
No, I think Buddha said it. And well, I just know, because I went through so much pain and strife that I myself put myself through, for me to understand and be compassionate. Because I think when I was young, I was very arrogant. So arrogant when I look back on my life. And if I talk to other people, they would probably say the same thing. Oh yeah, you were arrogant when you were young. And so I had to suffer. Like, those are hard lessons with a lot of pain that I had to learn. And now I'm here in a much better place. So that was our A's to your Q's. If you want to ask questions just like that or similar or whatever, you can ask them. Just visit getinthelab.me, and there's a form all the way down at the bottom where you can submit your questions, and we'll answer them on the show here. We will answer the crap out of it, just like we did today. That was a long show. So, B, what are we looking forward to?
Christmas.
Happy
Yay! Holidays, everyone,
and
Merry
it's
Christmas.
Christmas Eve, right? So this is airing on Christmas Eve. So happy Christmas Eve. We're actually going to be opening our presents on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
That's a first.
Yeah, it is a first.
That's a first.
It's the first of my life.
And also having... well, it's not. Well, we were supposed to have our first Christmas here on actual Christmas Day, but whatever. We're going to go to my parents' house in Palmdale, and that should be a lot of fun. And yeah, so happy holidays, everyone. Be safe.
Happy holidays, yeah.
Spend time with your family. Tell them that you love them. All that good stuff. And yeah, good things. We'll see you in the next one. All right.
Or next year.
Next year. No, we can see them in the next one. I don't know. Well, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I'm all turned around. I'm too excited. All right, guys. So once again, my name is Megan.
I'm Kevin.
And we out.
We're out.